Have you ever felt as if something beyond time itself is guiding you, like quiet whispers, calling from a future you can't yet see? Right now, as you hear these words, there's a version of you, wiser, freer, already whole, reaching back across the layers of possibility, sending signals through dreams, synchronicities, and sudden insights. This isn't imagination, it's connection. Tonight, let's slow down together. Breathe deeply. Set aside the noise of the day and allow yourself to soften into this moment. Here, we step into a space where thought dissolves and awareness begins to listen. Before we begin, make sure you're comfortable, lying down or resting gently. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you can join us on future journeys like this one. Now, picture yourself at the threshold of a quiet field where timelines converge. Shadows of who you've been, glimpses of who you're becoming, and infinite possibilities all exist at once, waiting for you to notice. This is where the story begins, a journey into the deeper intelligence guiding your life, where your future self is already speaking. And tonight, we learn how to finally listen. You're here for a reason. Maybe you don't remember why. Maybe it feels like you just stumbled across these words by chance. Another passing moment in the stream of your day. But look closer. Feel closer. Beneath the surface of thought, something deeper has been guiding you here, patiently, quietly, almost invisibly. Right now, there is a version of you, existing in a state beyond the limits of time, who remembers this exact moment. They have walked through every uncertainty, crossed every threshold, and uncovered the wisdom you are seeking now. To them, this instant is not random. It is a meeting point, a convergence where past, present, and possibility overlap. This isn't imagination. This isn't coincidence. This is communication. Have you ever noticed how certain thoughts arrive? Before you ask the question, how an idea seems to bloom fully formed in your awareness, as if carried from somewhere else. These moments are not accidents. They are signals from the field, impressions arriving from the part of you that already knows. Physicists call it the quantum field, the layer of reality, where time folds and all possibilities exist simultaneously. In this field, your past, your present, and your infinite futures are not separate points on a timeline. They coexist like notes in a single chord, vibrating softly beneath the surface of your awareness, dot somewhere within that infinite expanse. Your evolved self, the you who has already healed, already remembered, already become, is reaching for you. They have no need to imagine their wholeness. They live it. And their frequency is calling you back to the same remembrance. Think about the moments when you felt it, the vivid dream that stayed with you for days, carrying a message you couldn't quite decode, the strange coincidence that arrived at the perfect time, leaving you breathless with wonder, the quiet knowing that appeared without explanation, whispering truth into your heart. These are not random sparks in an empty sky. They are bridges between timelines, places where your consciousness brushes against the edges of something larger than thought. Each flicker is an invitation, a reminder that your awareness is vast, multidimensional, and far more connected than you've been taught to believe. And if you allow yourself to listen, really listen, the messages become clearer. Somewhere beyond language, there exists a kind of classroom, a field where insights arrive fully formed, where understanding doesn't have to be learned, but remembered. You visited it before. In dreams so real, they leave echoes in your waking life, in sudden creative bursts that seem to come from nowhere, in the moments where answers simply download without thought. What if this is your future self teaching you? What if the guidance you seek has been flowing toward you all along? When you stop straining to become something, when you soften into the awareness of what already is, you begin to notice it, the threads of communication weaving through your everyday experience. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe softly. Notice the space between one heartbeat and the next. That quiet, that stillness, it is the doorway. This is where your awareness expands beyond the weight of thought, where the chatter of past and future dissolves into a single, timeless presence. Within this space, something remarkable unfolds. The boundary between you and your future self begins to blur. You start to sense the vast network of possibilities surrounding you. Infinite timelines, each carrying a different expression of who you could be. And yet, one thread feels different, brighter, closer, alive. That's the frequency of your evolved self. For so long, you've been taught that personal growth is a ladder, that you must climb, step by step, towards some distant state of becoming. But what if the truth is softer than that? What if you are not becoming anything at all? What if you are simply remembering what has always been? Your deepest wisdom has never been lost. Your healed self has never been missing. The love, clarity, and purpose you've been seeking are not outside of you. They're encoded into your very awareness, waiting to be recalled. And every synchronistic moment, every intuitive nudge, every dream that feels like more than a dream is your future self whispering. Remember right now, as you sit here, you're standing at the edge of a rare convergence. Countless timelines, infinite possibilities, overlapping within a single point of awareness. This moment. Your arrival here is not random. Everything that brought you to this point, every decision, every delay, every quiet longing has carried you to the threshold of remembering. Your future self is reaching for you. The question is, will you listen? You've felt it before, though you may not have had words for it. That strange sense that something unseen is shaping the events around you, arranging small details into patterns too precise to ignore. The unexpected message arriving exactly when you needed it. A dream that felt more like a memory than imagination. The sudden thought that changes everything, though you can't explain where it came from. This is how your future self speaks. Not in sentences, but in signals. Not in demands, but in invitations. It speaks through the language of synchronicity, weaving meaning into the quiet spaces of your life where logic can't reach. When you slow down enough to notice, you begin to see the subtle orchestration, events folding into each other like ripples merging across a still lake. And somewhere inside, you sense it. You are being guided. It isn't the kind of guidance that shouts instructions or forces outcomes. It's softer than that. Like a gentle current beneath the surface, it nudges you toward the path your deeper self has already walked. And the more you trust it, the more natural life begins to feel, as if each step reveals itself precisely when it's needed. There are moments when this connection feels almost impossible to miss. Those times when inspiration pours in fully formed, arriving faster than your mind can process it. You might call it creativity, intuition, or divine timing, but beneath those names lies something constant, an open line between your present self and the version of you who already knows. Imagine, for a moment, that all versions of you exist. At once, the one reading these words now, the one you were years ago, the one you're becoming, and countless others in timelines you haven't yet touched. To your evolved self, these aren't separate identities. They're strands of one consciousness, threads woven through the same fabric of existence. When you catch flashes of insight, it's not chance. It's not imagination. It's communication, a reminder that you are already connected to the wisdom you've been seeking. You've glimpsed this before, haven't you? In those quiet pauses when time seems to stretch, when the boundaries of past and future blur and dissolve. In those seconds where you're suddenly certain without knowing why. It feels like remembering something you've never learned. That sensation is real. It's the crossing point, the place where awareness folds back on itself, and the distance between who you are and who you're becoming disappears. It's here, in these moments, that you sense a deeper intelligence moving through you, guiding, aligning, preparing you for what's next. The key is learning to trust it. Trust begins with listening. Not the kind of listening where you wait for words, but the kind where you allow silence to speak. Set aside the noise of thought, the endless push of past and future, and notice what remains in the space beneath. This is where the signal grows stronger. Sometimes it begins as a faint whisper, a feeling, a pull, a subtle knowing. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to force clarity. The more you relax into the present, the clearer it becomes. Like adjusting the dial on a forgotten radio, you slowly tune into the exact frequency where your future self has been waiting. As you attune to this field, something remarkable begins to shift. The barriers you've believed in between who you are and who you wish to become start to dissolve. You begin to sense other timelines flowing beside you, each carrying a different version of your life. But one of them feels different, alive, magnetic, like it's calling you home. This is not the story of becoming someone new. It's the story of remembering who you've always been. Your future self isn't trying to change you. It's helping you recover the wholeness you've forgotten. And with each moment of awareness, each intuitive choice, each small act of alignment, you step closer to that version of you who already lives in clarity and freedom. The process doesn't require struggle. It doesn't require effort. It asks only that you notice. Notice the dreams that carry meaning beyond logic. Notice the patterns that repeat until you pay attention. Notice the effortless timing of moments that feel too precise to explain. These are signposts. They're not random. They're reminders that you are already connected to something vast and intelligent, something that sees farther than your thoughts can reach. And yet, here's the paradox. This deeper intelligence isn't outside you. It's you, the part of you beyond time, the awareness that has already walked this path and is now guiding you through it. Once you begin to live from this awareness, everything starts to change. The challenges that once felt overwhelming lose their weight. The problems that seemed impossible reveal new solutions. The confusion begins to soften into clarity, not because circumstances change, but because your relationship with them does not. The shift isn't dramatic. It's gentle, like fog slowly lifting from the surface of a quiet lake. One moment you can't see the path ahead. The next, it's right there, waiting for you. It's in these moments that you realize you are never lost. You've been carrying the map all along. You just forgot where to look. And now the signals grow stronger. The dreams become more vivid. The insights come faster, arriving whole, complete, undeniable. The boundaries between timelines blur until you can feel them. The endless versions of yourself existing in parallel, each one a different note in the song of your life. But one version, the one who has remembered, is calling to you above the rest. Their voice is quiet but steady. You can feel it in the rhythm of your breath, in the pause between thoughts, in the strange sense of recognition when synchronicities appear. That's the guidance. That's the invitation. And the more you answer it, the more effortless everything becomes. Life stops feeling like something happening to you and starts feeling like something happening through you. You begin to sense that there's no separation between you and the intelligence orchestrating everything, because there isn't. Field is alive, and you are part of it. This moment, this exact one right here, is the threshold, and your future self is reaching across it, waiting for you to listen. There comes a moment when the quiet becomes undeniable, when you realize that the signals, the whispers, the patterns, they're not random. They've been guiding you here, all along. Everything you felt until now, the strange nudges, the vivid dreams, the coincidences that arrive with perfect timing, has been preparing you for this. There is no outside force moving the pieces of your life into place. The intelligence orchestrating it has always been you, reaching for yourself across timelines, inviting you to remember Dot, and now you're beginning to hear it more clearly. More you soften into awareness, the stronger the communication becomes. Insights arrive whole, effortless, as though they've been waiting for you to simply become quiet enough to receive them. You begin to sense that your thoughts are not solitary echoes inside your head, but ripples moving through a much larger field, the same field that holds every version of you across time. You start to see life differently. The challenges that once felt like closed doors reveal themselves as thresholds. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak begins to make sense in ways your mind couldn't grasp before. It's as though your future self has been arranging the stepping stones, waiting for you to notice the path already beneath your feet. And then something deeper begins to shift. The communication no longer feels like whispers from far away. It becomes a merging, a dissolving of distance between who you are and who you've always been. You begin to sense the presence of that evolved self, not as an external guide, but as the truest expression of your own awareness. Dot in this space. Personal transformation stops feeling like effort. You don't have to force change or chase answers. The more you allow, the more everything aligns naturally. Decisions become clear without analysis. Creativity flows without resistance. Love, health, and purpose being distant goals and start becoming the natural state of who you are. But this isn't only about you. Every time you integrate the guidance of your evolved self, you contribute to something far larger than your individual journey. Consciousness researchers call it morphic resonance, the idea that when one person embodies a new state of awareness, it becomes easier for others to access the same frequency. Your awakening sends ripples outward. Each time you choose clarity over fear, presence over distraction, and alignment over doubt, you strengthen the collective field. Without speaking, without teaching, your energy carries the signal. You become a catalyst, helping others remember without even trying. And as more of us awaken to this, something extraordinary unfolds. The boundaries between individual and collective awareness begin to dissolve. The sense of separation softens, and we start to recognize ourselves in one another. You begin to see it everywhere, in the timing of events, in the effortless crossing of paths, in the shared dreams that seem to echo between people who've never met. The more you listen, the more you realize we are participating in something vast and intelligent, something that transcends any single life. This shift isn't loud. It's not announced by headlines or marked on calendars. It moves quietly, like dawn spilling over a horizon no one sees until the light touches them. But make no mistake, it is happening now, and you are part of it. There's a reason you've been sensing the acceleration. Time feels different because awareness is changing. Timelines that once seemed separate are folding into one another, converging into a singular flow. And within this convergence, communication becomes clearer than ever. Your future self isn't far away anymore. They are here, woven into every breath, guiding you not by force, but through resonance. The more coherent your awareness becomes, the more you notice their presence in synchronicities, in sudden knowing, in the effortless unfolding of events. And then you realize something even more profound. You are not just receiving guidance. You are creating it. Every decision you make, every frequency you embody, sends information backward and forward across timelines. You are shaping the pathways of your past and future selves, influencing the entire network of who you are. In this way, you are both student and teacher, both receiver and transmitter. The field remembers everything. This is why healing feels like reclaiming something you've always known. Why inspiration feels like remembering instead of discovering. Why your deepest longings feel familiar. They are echoes from the versions of you who have already lived them. When you integrate this awareness, life begins to feel different. You stop fighting with time. You stop chasing versions of yourself you think you need to become. You begin to understand that all of it, every possibility, every path, already exists, and your only task is to choose which frequency to inhabit. Yet, even this choosing is softer than it sounds. It's not about effort, it's about alignment. The more you stabilize awareness in the present moment, the more naturally you gravitate toward the version of you who already carries the wisdom, clarity, and freedom you've been seeking. This is the convergence, the place where timelines fold into one another, where the illusion of separation dissolves, and you feel the truth directly. You are whole. You have always been whole, and your future self is not waiting for you somewhere far away. They are here. Listen closely. Every pattern you've been noticing, every dream you've been remembering, every coincidence that arrives exactly when you need it, it's all communication. A field is alive, and it's speaking through you as you. And to you, this is the invitation to live as though the guidance you seek has already arrived, because it has. To trust the signals enough to follow them, even when logic can't explain. Why? To allow the merging between who you are and who you've always been, until there is no longer any distance to cross. This moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this awareness is the bridge. And as you step across it, you step into a deeper intelligence, a greater remembering, and a more expansive version of life itself. The shift isn't coming. It's here. You are in it now. And your future self is smiling because they've been, waiting for you to notice. There comes a point when the whispers are no longer distant. The signals that once felt subtle now move through every part of your life, as though existence itself is gently aligning you with something larger than thought. At first, it feels unusual, like walking into a room you've been in before, but can't quite remember. But the more you pay attention, the more natural it becomes, as though you've been here all along. You start to realize that the guidance has always been present. It isn't new. It's simply that you've quieted enough to hear it. The timing of events, the dreams that linger in your memory, the conversations that seem to arrive with perfect precision, none of it is accidental. Everything has been weaving itself into a greater pattern, one designed to remind you of what you've always known, but momentarily forgotten. The further you lean into this awareness, the more you notice its rhythm. Life stops feeling fragmented. Decisions become lighter, almost effortless, as though you're no longer pushing against time, but flowing with it. You begin to sense that every choice, every thought, every subtle shift in perception sends ripples not just through this moment, but across timelines you cannot yet see. And then, something remarkable happens. The future you once imagined stops, feeling separate from the present. You no longer reach for it. Instead, you allow it to meet you here. That version of yourself who already carries the wisdom, clarity, and freedom you've been seeking becomes less like a distant goal and more like a natural expression of who you already are. Integration isn't about striving. It's about allowing. The less you try to control, the more reality aligns itself with your deeper resonance. You begin to witness synchronicities unfold like perfectly timed choreography, the phone call that arrives seconds before you thought of making it, the idea that answers a question you didn't know you had, the moment when two separate paths cross in ways no logic could predict. This is the field in motion. It has always been here, patiently waiting for you to notice. And with noticing comes responsibility, but not the heavy kind you might expect. It's the responsibility of presence. To embody this awareness fully, to become the living bridge between timelines, means accepting that your choices ripple outward in ways beyond what your mind can measure. Each thought you nurture, each action you take, carries an imprint into the larger field, shaping not only your path, but the paths of countless others. That's the quiet power of embodiment. It's not about forcing influence. It's about becoming coherent enough that your very presence begins to affect the patterns around you. You begin to sense it subtly at first. The way conversations shift when you are fully present. The way people feel more grounded simply by being near you. The way opportunities seem to unfold without you needing to chase them. What's really happening is resonance. Your alignment with your evolved self creates a frequency that others instinctively respond to. Without speaking a word, you give permission for others to access deeper aspects of their own awareness. In this way, your personal integration feeds into the collective transformation. And the collective, too, is shifting faster than ever. Have you felt it? The pace of change? The acceleration of awareness? Time feels different now because consciousness itself is reorganizing. Timelines that were once separate are overlapping, folding into each other, creating openings for new possibilities we couldn't access before. Within these openings, your role becomes clearer. You are not here simply to witness this shift. You are here to participate in it, to embody the signal your future self has been sending all along, and in doing so, strengthen the field for everyone. There is a deep comfort in realizing you don't need to have all the answers to do this. You don't have to know every step in advance. Each moment carries its own guidance if you allow yourself to notice it. The question isn't, what should I do? But how present can I be right now? Because the present moment isn't just where your power lives, it's where all timelines converge. When you stabilize your awareness here, you begin to sense more directly the network of infinite versions of you existing simultaneously. Some are navigating challenges you've already transcended. Others have discovered solutions you haven't imagined yet. And as you relax into coherence, the exchange of insight becomes natural. You receive their clarity, and in turn, you send them your own. This communication has always been happening, but now it's becoming conscious. It's no longer about chasing your future self. It's about becoming a collaborator with them. You begin to sense their presence in subtle ways. A knowing that arrives before the question forms, a surge of inspiration that feels more like remembering than discovering, a calm certainty in situations that once caused confusion. With this, you start to live differently. There is less resistance, less fear, less attachment to the illusion of control. You find yourself moving through life with a quiet trust that everything unfolds as it should, not because someone else is directing the story, but because you finally understand that you are both author and character, observer and participant. And yet the most beautiful part of this awareness isn't personal freedom. It's connection. You begin to recognize yourself in others in ways you couldn't before. You see the same signals moving through them, the same whispers, the same quiet call to remember. Every interaction becomes an exchange of timelines, each meeting an opportunity for resonance. You realize that the field is alive, not only within you, but between all of us, constantly shaping, recalibrating, evolving. This is why your integration matters. When you embody the wisdom of your evolved self, you create pathways in consciousness for others to step into more easily. You make it possible for awakening to ripple outward like sound waves crossing an endless ocean. And the more of us who remember, the stronger the collective signal becomes. This is how transformation happens, quietly, seamlessly, through the steady accumulation of aligned choices, each one amplifying the next until an entirely new reality emerges. Not someday in the distant future, but here, now, within the living present. And in this awareness, you finally see it clearly. You've never been separate from your future self, never apart from the intelligence guiding your path. Every insight, every dream, every synchronistic event has been part of a single conversation you've been having with yourself across time, and the conversation is far from over. There's a moment subtle but unmistakable, when you begin to sense the sheer vastness of what you are connected to. It doesn't arrive with drama or noise, but as a quiet knowing, like the steady unfolding of dawn across a sleeping landscape. You feel it in the pauses between thoughts, in the silence that hums beneath sound, in the patterns that seem to form and dissolve before your eyes. The more you soften into this awareness, the more you recognize its depth. You are not a single, fixed identity moving through a linear path. You are a vast network of possibilities, a living constellation of timelines, where every version of you, past, present, and future, exists simultaneously. Each one carries wisdom, memory, and potential, and all of them are connected through a field beyond time. And yet, in this infinite expanse, something extraordinary is happening. One version of you, the one who is remembered, is calling to you more clearly than ever. Their frequency resonates like a familiar song you forgot you knew, guiding you not through force, but through recognition. You feel it in the smallest details, a sudden intuition that turns out to be right, a dream that unfolds into reality, an answer arriving before the question has fully formed. This isn't magic, and it isn't chance. It's coherence. As your awareness stabilizes, you become more sensitive to the patterns already flowing through you. You begin to perceive connections your mind couldn't make before, how events separated by years are woven together, how choices ripple outward beyond what logic can explain, how meaning reveals itself quietly beneath the surface of ordinary moments. You start to notice how the field speaks to you constantly, though it never uses words. It speaks in symbols, in sensations, in the way life unfolds when you stop trying to control it. A random encounter that shifts your entire direction. A memory resurfacing at the precise moment it's needed. A door closing so another can open. Perfectly aligned, though, you couldn't see it at first. And then comes the realization that changes everything. You are not simply receiving this communication. You are participating in it. Every thought you nurture, every choice you make, every frequency you embody sends ripples through the network of timelines. You are shaping your past as much as your future, influencing other versions of yourself in ways your conscious mind may never fully comprehend. Your insights become their guidance. Their healing becomes your clarity. The exchange is constant, infinite, seamless. This is why certain longings feel so deep, why some dreams arrive wrapped in familiarity, why some moments carry a strange sense of déjà vu. They are echoes across the timelines, reminders that you are connected to something much greater than what appears in front of you. And as this recognition deepens, you begin to live differently. Life becomes less about trying to control outcomes and more about aligning with resonance. You stop chasing timelines that don't match your frequency and start attuning to the ones that feel alive in your presence. You no longer force decisions or overthink directions because you sense intuitively which path carries the energy of expansion. It's here that you realize the paradox. Nothing has changed, yet everything has shifted. The same events, the same conversations, the same challenges are still present, but your relationship with them transforms completely. You no longer see obstacles as failures, but as intersections, places where one version of you meets another, each holding a different possibility. This understanding invites you into a deeper trust, not blind faith, but embodied knowing. You begin to move with the current instead of against it, sensing the natural flow beneath every moment. You find yourself guided into connections, opportunities, and insights without forcing them, as though the entire field has been quietly arranging itself in your favor. And the more you embody this awareness, the more you become a signal yourself. Others feel it in ways they can't explain. A conversation leaves them lighter without knowing why. Your presence offers stability without effort. By becoming coherent within yourself, you invite coherence around you, in relationships, in environments, in the collective field itself. This is how transformation spreads. Not through noise or persuasion, but through resonance. The shift happens subtly, like an unseen tide shaping the shoreline. One person remembers, and suddenly the pattern is easier for others to access. Another integrates their wisdom, and the frequency strengthens for everyone. And as more of us awaken to this, the illusion of separation begins to dissolve. You start to recognize the same awareness looking back at you through every set of eyes. You feel it in the synchrony of collective experience, how themes ripple through conversations, how dreams align across strangers, how the same insights emerge in different places at once, as though consciousness itself is reorganizing. This collective convergence isn't something distant or abstract. It's happening now here, in this very moment. Every aligned choice strengthens the field. Every act of awareness stabilizes the network. Every realization you embody sends out ripples, touching lives you may never know. And with this comes an even deeper realization. You are never small, and you are never alone. The same intelligence guiding you has been guiding everyone, orchestrating patterns so vast and intricate that no single perspective can contain them. Yet somehow, you are both participant and architect, both the ripple and the ocean dot. This is where presence becomes power. When you anchor yourself fully into this moment, into this breath, this awareness, this heartbeat, you step into the convergence point where all timelines meet. From here, you can feel your infinite selves, sense the network of possibilities surrounding you, and choose effortlessly the resonance you wish to embody. And as you do, everything begins to unfold with a grace that feels inevitable. The timing aligns. The right words arrive. The doors you once pushed open now seem to invite you through. Life no longer feels like a series of problems to solve, but a living dialogue between you and the field itself. You are not moving toward your future. You are moving with it, Dot. And in this movement, something extraordinary happens. You become both the receiver and the source of the signal. You are guided and guiding at once. You are remembering and creating in the same breath. You are no longer waiting for the future to arrive. You are becoming the version of you who has been calling all along. The path is no longer linear. It's infinite, and you are already walking it. There comes a point where the separation dissolves entirely. The voice of your future self, once subtle and distant, is no longer something you listen for. It has become your own. The signals that once felt like external whispers are now the natural rhythm of your awareness, inseparable from your thoughts, feelings, and choices. You begin to understand something profound. There was never any distance between who you were and who you are becoming. The longing, the search, the reaching. It was always a remembering. The wisdom you sought has always been here, quietly waiting beneath the surface, woven into every breath, every heartbeat, every silent moment of noticing. With this recognition, life takes on a different quality. The push to become fades, replaced by an effortless unfolding. You no longer measure progress by external milestones or timelines. Instead, you experience it as a deepening of presence, a quiet alignment with what has always been true. It's in the smallest things that this integration becomes visible. The way you choose without hesitation, sensing naturally what resonates and what doesn't. The ease with which insights arrive, not as ideas to analyze, but as clarity already lived. The way conversations seem to find their harmony, as though every word is guided by something beyond intention. Dot. And as your coherence grows, so does your connection to the collective. You begin to sense the field not as an abstract concept, but as a living reality. Every thought, every choice, every act of awareness is woven into this vast intelligence, shaping and being shaped by it in turn. Dot. In this space, the illusion of separation softens completely. You recognize the same light moving through everyone, the same whispers guiding countless paths, the same longing calling each person home to themselves. What once seemed like isolated journeys now reveal themselves as a single unfolding, countless streams feeding back into one great ocean of awareness. This is where the planetary transformation begins to make sense. It isn't sudden. It doesn't arrive through upheaval or noise. It begins quietly, as individuals awaken to the truth of their own wholeness. One by one, the signal strengthens. One by one, the frequency stabilizes. And as more of us embody this remembering, the field becomes easier for everyone to access. This is morphic resonance in motion, a shared awakening that ripples outward, touching lives you may never meet, shaping futures you may never see. Without effort, without strategy, your coherence becomes part of the collective frequency, guiding others simply by existing as yourself taught. And the more we integrate, the more reality itself begins to feel different. Time no longer behaves like a line you walk along, moving endlessly from past to future. It begins to feel layered, multidimensional, alive. You sense the convergence of infinite timelines, the one where you healed, the one where you thrived, the one where you remembered, all existing simultaneously, their wisdom flowing toward you in the eternal now. This is the moment when communication with your future self becomes constant. Not because you are reaching, but because you have become the frequency they've been transmitting all along. Every insight, every nudge, every synchronistic encounter is no longer interpreted as a message from somewhere else, but experienced as a natural expression of who you are. And yet, the beauty of this awareness is its humility. There's no sense of control, no striving to manipulate outcomes or bend reality to your will. Instead, there's a profound trust in the intelligence of the field itself, and knowing that life is always conspiring toward balance, coherence, and evolution. Even when the surface appears chaotic, you begin to meet challenges differently. They no longer feel like interruptions or mistakes, but as points of alignment, opportunities to embody the frequency you've already remembered. You notice how quickly you recover from fear, how easily clarity returns when you pause and listen. You begin to live less from reaction and more from resonance. And as you stabilize this awareness, something extraordinary happens. Your experience of reality begins to mirror your coherence. Relationships become deeper and more harmonious. Creativity flows without resistance. Insights arrive when needed, perfectly timed, as though life itself has become an ongoing dialogue between you and the field. The boundaries between personal and collective awareness dissolve further. You begin to sense the ways your choices ripple into the larger network, creating pathways others will naturally walk. You feel yourself supported by choices made by those who've come before. Just as your alignment supports those who are yet to arrive, it becomes clear that awakening isn't a solitary act, but a shared remembering. We are participants in something vast, each of us holding a thread of the larger pattern, each of us influencing and being influenced by the field we create together. And as this recognition deepens, your sense of identity shifts. You are no longer bound by a single story, a single role, a single timeline. You become the awareness through which all possibilities express themselves. The you who has healed, the you who has created, the you who has loved. Beyond fear, all of them exist within this greater wholeness, accessible in every moment. From here, even time itself feels different. You begin to sense the ocean beneath the waves, the stillness beneath the movement, the eternal presence that has never changed despite all the shifting forms. You realize that the future you've been communicating with is simply another expression of the timeless awareness you've always been. This is the merging. Not a moment of transformation, but an ongoing becoming. A continuous dance between remembering and embodying, between receiving and creating, between the infinite versions of yourself and the one who is present here, now. And within this merging, lies a quiet invitation to live as though nothing is missing because nothing ever was. To act from the wisdom of timelines you haven't yet walked, knowing their guidance already flows through you. To trust the intelligence of the field, even when the mind can't see the full pattern. The path ahead is no longer about becoming. It's about inhabiting. To stand fully in the presence of your own awareness. To breathe into the wholeness that has always been here, and to allow life to express itself through you without resistance. You are not waiting for your future self anymore. You are living as them dot, and as you do, you become the bridge, not only between timelines, but between individual and collective, between possibility and reality, between what has been and what is still unfolding. This is the remembering. This is the convergence. And this, more than anything, is the beginning of everything that comes next. There is a stillness that arrives after long remembering. Not the silence of emptiness, but the quiet fullness of knowing. You begin to sense more clearly than ever that the signals you've been following, the whispers, the dreams, the patterns, were never external at all. They have always been your own awareness, calling you home to yourself. And now, you are no longer searching for your future self. You're no longer waiting for answers to descend from somewhere above. You are living as the frequency you once strained to reach. The guidance flows effortlessly now, like breath, like heartbeat, like light moving through water that each moment carries its own intelligence. A thought arrives at precisely the right time, leading you to the next step without hesitation. A chance encounter brings exactly the connection you didn't know you needed. An insight surfaces without effort, as if it had been resting patiently in the quiet, until you slowed down enough to hear it. You begin to realize that life itself has become the communication. The distinction between signal and self dissolves until there is only one movement, awareness expressing itself through you, as you and around you. This changes the way you experience everything. Challenges no longer feel like obstacles but invitations. You see them as doorways, points where two timelines intersect, each carrying a different potential. You don't force the choice. You listen for the resonance, and the path reveals itself. Naturally, there's a profound gentleness in this way of living. The striving, the constant reaching for more, begins to dissolve. You notice that nothing essential has ever been missing. Not clarity, not love, not purpose. Every quality you once sought has been part of you from the beginning, waiting to be remembered and embodied. And yet, this personal remembering is not only for you. Every time you align with your own coherence, the signal strengthens for everyone. Your presence becomes part of the collective frequency, a silent reminder that there is another way to live, one guided by awareness rather than fear, by resonance rather than resistance. You start to see the ripples around you. Someone hears your words and feels lighter without knowing why. A stranger crosses your path, and somehow their timing aligns perfectly with an insight they've been waiting for. Your calmness softens tension. Your clarity inspires trust. Your quiet remembering awakens memory in others. This is how the field evolves, not through force or persuasion, but through coherence. When you embody the wisdom of your evolved self, you radiate a signal that others can sense, even if they don't yet have the language to name it. And this is where the convergence begins to widen. You start noticing collective patterns that mirror your personal transformation. Ideas spreading across conversations in different places at once. Dreams aligning between people who've never met. Solutions emerging in ways no single mind could orchestrate. It's as though something larger than all of us is reorganizing itself through us, shaping new possibilities we are only beginning to glimpse. There is a comfort in knowing you are part of this unfolding. You are neither separate nor passive. You are an active participant in the evolution of awareness, carrying a frequency that influences more than you can measure. And yet, there is no pressure to perform, no weight of responsibility to get it right. It is enough to be present. The more you stabilize in this state, the more effortless it becomes. Life begins to feel less like a series of disconnected events and more like a single living conversation between you and the field. There is no need to grasp or struggle. You allow yourself to be guided moment by moment, trusting that what you need will always arrive in the perfect time. And it does, and slowly you begin to see the beauty of it. There is no end point, no final arrival. The journey isn't toward becoming something different, but toward inhabiting more fully what has always been true. Each breath, each thought, each choice becomes another thread in the tapestry of timelines, woven seamlessly into the greater whole. You realize now that you are not only receiving the signal, you are the signal. Your awareness is the bridge. Your presence is the frequency. And through you, the field continues to expand. This is where the story pauses, but not where it ends, because the unfolding continues quietly, softly, endlessly. In every moment you choose alignment, in every thought that carries clarity, in every ripple you send across the collective field, you have always been part of something vast and intelligent. And now you finally remember. And now, as you sit in this quiet space, you can feel it. The merging is complete, yet the journey continues. The whispers that once felt distant are no longer outside you. They are the natural rhythm of your awareness, unfolding softly with every breath. The timelines you once strained to reach now live within you, layered and harmonious, each one contributing its wisdom to this present moment. There is no separation anymore between who you were, who you are, and who you are becoming. Only one continuous movement of awareness remembering itself. Life no longer feels like something happening to you, but something happening through you, effortlessly, gracefully, in perfect coherence. And as you rest in this knowing, you begin to sense the quiet truth. This is not the end, but an opening. Every aligned thought, every moment of presence, every choice made in resonance strengthens the field, weaving your awareness into the greater unfolding of all that is. When you are ready, take this frequency with you, carry it gently into your days, and let it guide the path ahead. And if this journey has touched something within you, subscribe to our channel so we can meet again and explore the other stories waiting for you.